guys, Katy Huller here with Kids Can Read and Write. Today I want to talk to you about how to help your kids go from reading short words to bigger words, all right? It's really important that you do this early on, that you not just keep kids on little words. So let's say you have been doing just little words, like maybe 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters, but now you think your child's ready to move on to bigger and better things. Or maybe you don't think your child is because you think because they're still sounding out the little words that means they can't read bigger words. Well, let me help dispel this myth. Just because your kids still have to sound out little words does not mean that they aren't ready for bigger words, okay? In other words, if they can sound out these little words, you 100% want to go ahead and get them used to sounding out bigger words, okay? So in other words, if they can go shut, and read that, even if they're sounding it out sound by sound, shut. Okay, even if they have to read it like that to get shut, like shut the door, you still can start introducing bigger words. All you have to do is let them know they're just like the shorter words. You're just going to look for that first vowel. What are the vowels? Well, remember, A, E, I, O, and U are the vowels. Sometimes Y, yes, but we're not too worried about that right now. If you want to put it in here, you can. But A, E, I, O, and U are our normal vowels, okay? And what you want to do is find any vowels. Help your child find any vowels in the word. So I spy one here, and I spy one here. Well, after your first vowel, you want to go one past. Now, S and the H is a trick. So all of these words you'll notice have the SH in them. As soon as the Black Belt Reading Program introduces the SH trick, you're going to see bigger words put in that packet. And I'll tell you why. Because once they can sound out these shorter words, they're 100% ready for bigger words. So you will notice that we're not just going to have little tiny words in the Black Belt Reading Program. We're going to have bigger words too. And this is one of the biggest differences, I'd say, in the Black Belt Reading Program versus a lot of others. We're not going to keep kids contained on little bitty words. We're going to show them how to read bigger words too, so they can get used to it as they're reading, and so that they'll feel confident and know that they can do big kid things. So after you find that first vowel, you want to go one past. Now, S and the H is a trick. It says, shh, there's a snake. So we're going to keep those together when we break it up. We'll break it there. So now look, all they have to read is this first part to get going. Ish, wish. Then they read the second part. As. And they might say, that doesn't make any sense. What's as? And say, let's combine them and see. Wait, what was your first part? Ish, wish. What was your second part? As. So now we're going to say, wish, as. Wish, as, and put them together. Wish as, like how many wishes can I make when I blow out my birthday candle? Wishes, more than one wish. Now, if we want to read this longer one, we're going to find our vowels. Remember, A, E, I, O, and U, sometimes Y, but really these are the ones we're worried about. Well, here's one here. And here's one here. So if I see this first vowel and I go one past, I'm going to break it right there. And what would this first part be? Just have them worry about that. Don't have them read the entire thing. Just have them read the first part. So we have all, because you open your mouth wide for the O's. You can still be teaching letters and sounds and helping them with those while you read these big words. Again, you don't have to be perfect to read big words. You just have to understand how to do it. So we're going to teach your kids how to do it while they're learning to read. So here we go. All, Paul. So that's all they have to do for that first part. Notice that's just 3 letters. No big deal. Paul. Now we read the second part. Ish. Ish. So when we put it together, we're going to get Paul-ish. Now, if your kids are having trouble putting them together, try the finger method. Paul for the first chunk, ish for the second. So we go Paul-ish. Paul-ish, Paul-ish, Paul-ish. And we just start saying them a little closer together. Now, if your child is saying pish, maybe they're just totally leaving out a chunk, or Polsh, then you need to do that finger method. What's the first chunk? Paul. Okay, that's on our first finger. Paul. What's on our second finger? Ish. So we have Paul-ish, Polish. Like you put polish on your nails, okay? Or you could polish your shoes or your silverware. Polish. All right, what about this one? Remember, if kids can read 3-letter words, 4-letter words, they can read 6 and 7-letter words too. You just have to show them how. So find the first vowel, go and pass, break it. Find the next vowel, go and pass. We're at the end of the word, so we don't need to break it. So we're going to read just this part. Pun. Remember, punch that U. Pun. Pun. And then here's the ice cream falling off. It's going to be so icky when it splats on the ground. Okay, so we have pun. That's our first finger. Pun. Ish. Second finger. So what do we have? Pun. Ish. Pun-ish. Punish. And you just show them how to put the parts together. So notice this is no harder. It's almost easier. Here we have 4-letter words. Here we have 3-letter chunks, right? So it's just the same thing. Just you're putting 2 parts together. Pun-ish. Punish. And this will help your child really zoom forward. So again, if you need help doing this, if you need an order, a systematic, explicit approach to teaching reading, I've made videos for the kids on all of these things, showing how to read small words, how to read big words, how to read sentences, how to spell words. I've made videos with all of these things so that your child can learn to really read and write and not just get stuck on those little words. So if you need help with that, go to kidscanreadandwrite.com or kidscanonlineacademy.com. I'll put all the links in the description, not the comments, but the description. So look there if you need help finding the Black Belt reading program. But that's the word pun-ish. And when you get better at it, you can just kind of look in chunks and go pun-ish, punish, or Paul-ish, polish, or wish as wishes. Let's do one more together. So find the vowels. Do you see the vowels? I see the ice cream falling off. I see another. And I see that SH trick. So let's go and pass and break it. And all we're going to worry about reading is that. In, thin. Now we're going to read this. Ish. So we put it together. Fin-ish. Fin-ish. Finish. So make sure after you read the parts that you bring your child's attention back to this side. You don't want your child saying ish, fin, right? If they're doing that, so ask them, what was finger 1? Fin. What's finger 2? ish. 1, fin, 2, ish, right? Fin, ish. And help them see they have to let the first one go first, then the second one. But that's it, guys. It's that easy. If you want to help your kids go from just reading little words to reading bigger words, that's what you have to do. Make sure they know the tricks that are inside the words, otherwise they can't sound them out. But as long as they know basic sounds and the tricks that are in the words and they have a good blending technique, reading big words is really not much harder than reading these small ones. And I encourage you to get your kids reading those bigger words as soon as you can. Because what happens otherwise is kids start thinking they can only read these little words and that big words are scary. And we don't want them being afraid of bigger words. They're most of the words they're going to see in books. So as long as they know how to break them up, it's a real game changer. It really helps them go from just a lower level of reading to a much higher level of reading. And as soon as they know more and more tricks, more and more words they can read. So teach them what they need to know to really read and write. And if you need help, please look up the Black Belt Reading Program. It's a great program that I spent years putting together. And there are huge packets full of practice words, practice sheets. You've got reading words, reading sentences, writing words, writing sentences, some games you can play, just everything you need. Fill in the blank sentences to ensure comprehension is happening, matching, just all sorts of pages. So you have everything you need to practice the tricks. And I throw in the bigger words and make them bigger and bigger and bigger as we go through so that it's just a real gradual, wonderful way to learn to read and write. So if you need help, look up the Black Belt Reading Program. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you'll join me again next time. And please let me know if you have any questions at all about how to get your kids reading and writing. Thanks again for joining me. Don't forget to give that thumbs up, comment, and all that so I know you're there and watching, and so I know whatever questions you might have too. Thanks again. Hope to see you next time.